Confirmed cases of the more contagious Delta strain of COVID-19 are on the rise here in Iowa, and doctors are desperately trying to convince people to get vaccinated from it. Data from the State Department of Public Health shows about 1 in 3 Iowa adults haven't been vaccinated. Some Iowans don't trust the vaccines. Some doubt whether the virus would actually make them seriously ill. WHO 13 Political Director Dave Price talked with 2 doctors today about how they're trying to convince people to get the shot.
You all can frequently deal with people in pretty tense, emotional, life or death situations. So what are those, how are you managing those conversations when you have that wall that's already there?
So what I've noticed is that folks have a lot of questions, and so they've gone to locations and sources to get information, and sometimes it's not been good information. So that's typically where I will start, is to kind of ask them what they do know. And then there's that wall that starts to break down as we start to have a discussion. And you can have that discussion in a really reasonable way. And even folks who may have some beliefs that comes from those misinformation, as you start to talk to them, there's a lot of sensible Iowans out there. And when you start to get into the details and have a rational, thoughtful conversation, I've been impressed with their response. And that's why I've said, from the beginning of this, if you have questions, go to a reliable source, go to a trusted source, go to your primary care provider. You could schedule an appointment to talk just about that.
Yeah, I think one thing I try to be mindful of is if somebody's very reactive or very upset or very up in arms about this discussion, is that there's probably a healthy amount of fear behind that. And that's okay, and that's understandable. And let's try to figure out what that fear is. And if you've received information that's not true, what can we do better to give you, the facts that as we know them from a medical professional. And I think that also involves talking about some of the cases we've seen, we can't share information, but sharing those heart-shattering moments of, grandma or grandpa having to say goodbye through a window in our intensive care unit because we couldn't allow visitors. That has happened both pre and post-vaccination.
That's the kind of story that is just so heartbreaking, and it's still happening because not enough people have been vaccinated. Dave joins us now. What do these doctors think about the local governments, state governments across the country incentivizing people to get the shot?
Yeah, they would prefer that it did not have to come to that. They talked about that relationship. They try to have one-on-one with people, whether it's with the patient, if the patient is able to speak, or the family member, which oftentimes can be more emotional to try to get that, but they think it's that one-on-one connection where you can then try to convince people that these things are okay, they will protect you, they are worth doing. And particularly when it comes to younger people who have thought that, I'm not really gonna get sick from this, but they had some other stories about it is the younger people who are now making their way into the hospital, particularly those who are unvaccinated. And in most cases, almost all the cases, it is people who are not vaccinated at all, who are now starting to get more severe reactions because of this Delta strain.
Dave, we're so grateful, of course, for our frontline healthcare workers who have carried us this far through the pandemic. We know that among some of them are people who still haven't gotten the vaccine, the frontline healthcare workers who haven't gotten the shot. Did you even breach that with these doctors? Did you discuss that?
Oh, for sure. And they know that in their profession, there are those who don't want to do this for a variety of reasons. Some people just don't want to get vaccines at all. But they do believe that in the end, people and the community will be better protected the more people you can get vaccinated, whether it's in a medical facility or wherever. But the challenge is, how do you push those numbers up? So if you have 1 out of 3 adults not vaccinated yet, how do you get that so it's 75%, maybe 80%?
You got these guys on the Insiders this week?
They'll be on the Insiders this week, Sunday morning.
Thanks, Dave. We're back with more right after this.